What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive into our first news. Jorge Masvidal has stirred up headlines once again, this time by calling out Leon Edwards for a fight at the UFC White House card. The moment unfolded during a live stream hosted by Henry Cejudo, where they were unpacking UFC cards and casually discussing upcoming matchups. In the middle of the stream, Cejudo pulled a card featuring Leon Edwards, which sparked Masvidal to go off on an unfiltered call-out directed straight at the reigning welterweight champion. Masvidal didn't waste any time and immediately brought up his infamous history with Leon, referencing the three-piece and a soda moment that has been tied to their rivalry for years. He leaned into the moment with confidence and trash talk, saying, "Leon, if you're watching this, I'll beat you at the White House. Leon, I will beat that dog." From there, he took his words even further by tying his challenge to a patriotic angle, saying that just as America once sent England packing during the Revolutionary War, he plans to do the exact same to Edwards inside the octagon. The intensity of Masvidal's words only grew as he framed the call-out around America's Independence Day. He said if Leon represents England at such a historic event, it would only make sense for him to step up as the one to defend American pride. Masvidal joked that he would crash the party like the Boston Tea Party, making it clear that he sees this matchup not only as a fight, but also as an opportunity to turn history into an entertaining storyline for the fans. His energy on the stream was infectious, as he promised to get himself back into fight shape specifically for Edwards, saying that Leon doesn't need to worry because he'll be ready for war when the time comes. The call-out was vintage Masvidal, funny, raw, and fueled by both personal history and larger-than-life theatrics. He channeled the same energy that once made him one of the most popular figures in the sport, promising that if the UFC makes this fight, it would deliver fireworks. He talked about going back to the roots of 1776 and made it clear that he's ready to step into the cage under the brightest lights possible. With the White House card already shaping up to be one of the most unique and historic events in UFC history, Masvidal inserting himself into the conversation with a direct challenge to the champion only adds more fuel to the fire, whether it's taken seriously or just another classic Masvidal soundbite. The idea of him fighting Edwards on such a stage is already sparking massive reactions across the fight world. For Jorge, it's not just about another fight, but about turning history, patriotism, and rivalry into a spectacle the fans won't forget. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We are constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That is why we truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on MMA Pulse News. Moving on to another news, Merab has made a bold statement ahead of his upcoming clash with Cory Sandhagen at UFC 320. Known across the fight world as one of the most relentless grapplers in the bantamweight division, Merab has built his reputation on his suffocating pace, endless cardio, and his to-chain wrestle opponents into exhaustion. Yet despite this established identity, Merab continues to insist that when the octagon door closes against Sandhagen, fans will see something very different. According to him, 90% of the fight will be striking. Most analysts and fans simply aren't buying it. The general consensus is that Merab's best path to victory remains the same as always. Take his opponent down, rinse and repeat until the fight slips out of their control. Sandhagen himself has already made it clear that he doesn't believe Merab will abandon his wrestling-heavy approach, openly calling the claim a bluff. And given Sandhagen's own elite striking and footwork, many believe Merab would be taking a serious gamble by standing and trading for long stretches of the fight. Still, Merab has doubled down, telling interviewers that his focus for this camp has been sharpening his hands, not drilling takedowns. In a recent conversation with Shaquille Majori, Merab repeated his intentions with absolute confidence. He stated, "I'm planning to strike with Cory Sandhagen. I'm looking to knock him out, so we'll see." Those words sent shockwaves through the MMA community, not because fighters don't talk about finishing their opponents, but because coming from Merab, the message felt so out of character. He has always been praised for his grit, pace, and ground dominance, not his knockout power. Yet here he was, claiming that his mindset for UFC 320 is to showcase striking and stand toe-to-toe with one of the slickest strikers in the division. When asked whether his coach, John Wood, might be upset with him for leaving such a valuable skill set unused, Merab dismissed the idea completely. He said, "John Wood, whatever I do, he will support. So I don't think he'll be mad. Listen, we're really working on my hands. That's what I'm working." Merab pointed out that every fight starts on the feet, and from his perspective, the stand-up exchanges will shape the direction of the bout. That's why he believes 90% of the contest will be contested on the feet, no matter what his critics think. The timing of these comments is interesting because Sandhagen has made clear improvements in defending takedowns, and he has proven time and again that his striking volume and creativity can frustrate opponents. By stating so directly that he intends to strike, Merab has added a new layer of intrigue to the fight. Is this simply gamesmanship designed to throw Sandhagen off, or is it a genuine plan to test himself in the one area everyone assumes he would avoid? Whatever the case, Merab's words have added fuel to the fire and turned this matchup into one of the most fascinating stylistic battles set for UFC 320. As fight night approaches, fans are left wondering how much truth there is to Merab's declaration. His relentless wrestling is what got him to the top, but his belief in his evolving stand-up game may signal a new chapter in his career, whether he truly strikes for 90% of the fight or eventually falls back on the wrestling that made him a contender. Merab's bold words have made sure that all eyes will be locked on this showdown. Moving on to another news, Magomed Ankalaev has sent a serious warning to Alex Pereira ahead of their highly anticipated rematch at UFC 320. After Pereira's impressive run as the light heavyweight champion, he was granted an immediate rematch following his loss to Ankalaev at UFC 313 in March. In that bout, Ankalaev used his wrestling and grinding style to secure a unanimous decision victory, claiming the 205-pound title. Now, with UFC 320 around the corner, the tension between the two has only escalated. In a promotional video recently released by the UFC, Ankalaev made his intentions very clear. He stated that this rematch is not about giving Pereira a chance at redemption. Instead, it is about finishing what he started and proving that his win wasn't just about grinding out a decision. According to him, this is the time to put a definitive end to Pereira's championship hopes. His words carried a sharp edge, making it clear that he plans to dominate and leave no doubt this time around. Pereira, however, isn't backing down. In the same promotional clip, the former champion sounded confident and dismissive of Ankalaev's claims. Pereira emphasized that before their first fight, many people predicted he would be taken down and dominated on the ground. In his eyes, that prediction never came true. He pointed out that Ankalaev couldn't impose his will the way he promised. Pereira added that before their fight, Ankalaev made bold statements about how he was going to control and break him, but in the cage, he failed to deliver. To Pereira, Ankalaev isn't an exciting fighter and doesn't truly deserve to hold the belt. His confidence suggests he believes UFC 320 will be the night he reclaims the gold and proves himself once again. As the rematch approaches, fans are already speculating about what could come next depending on the outcome. If Pereira manages to take back the title, the possibility of a rubber match with Ankalaev is already on the table. That would set up a trilogy fight with even bigger stakes, giving fans another massive showdown in the light heavyweight division. On the other hand, if Ankalaev successfully defends, the door could open for fresh contenders who are climbing the ranks and making noise. One such name is Carlos Ulberg, who recently made headlines after a devastating win over Dominic Reyes. His performance left a strong impression, and now he is pushing hard for a title opportunity. Following UFC Perth, Ulberg made it clear that he wants to be ready for the biggest stage. In fact, he revealed that he already spoke with UFC matchmaker Hunter Campbell about being the backup for the UFC 320 main event. Ulberg said he told Hunter to fly him out to Vegas, and he would be there, fully prepared, even sacrificing food and drink to make sure he was on weight and ready to step in if needed. He made it clear that he's willing to do whatever it takes to seize the chance at a title shot, and his determination has certainly caught the attention of fans and analysts. With all these moving parts, the light heavyweight division has never looked more intriguing. The rivalry between Ankalaev and Pereira is heating up, and the possibility of a new contender like Ulberg stepping into the mix only raises the stakes even higher. As UFC 320 draws near, the spotlight is firmly fixed on the main event, and the fighters determined to leave their mark on history. Moving on to another news, a huge controversy has erupted following UFC Perth, and this one has the MMA world split right down the middle. The event itself delivered plenty of memorable moments, but one stoppage in particular has taken center stage, sparking endless debate. If you tuned into the card, you likely caught the moment where it appeared that Jake Matthews had defeated Neil Magny. Late in the opening round, Matthews sunk in a deep guillotine choke, and for a few seconds Magny's arm seemed to go limp. The referee stepped in, and it looked for all the world like the fight was over. Just as the crowd was processing what had happened, confusion hit. Magny wasn't actually out, and the referee quickly claimed he had stepped in because the round had ended. The fight was allowed to continue, and in a shocking turn, Magny came back to score a third-round submission win. The entire sequence left Matthews' camp furious. His management has already confirmed to BJPenn.com that they will be appealing the result, believing the referee's decision completely changed the course of the fight. Online, reactions poured in instantly. Aaron Bronstetter noted that the referee clearly made a mistake, saying, "Referee corrects his mistake and says that the fight is still on. Definitely appeared he stopped it." Brent Brook was even more direct, pointing out that the official had already said Magny was out and stopped the fight. He added that the referee was only saved by the fact there was a single second left in the round, allowing him to play it off as a timing issue, but by the rules, the fight should have ended immediately. Adam Martin suggested that the result might ultimately get overturned to a no contest, with Matthews and Magny potentially running it back later this year. He speculated that Magny could even come in as a heavy underdog if that rematch is booked. Kenny Florian didn't hold back either, blasting the referee's actions as atrocious. He highlighted how the official stopped the fight, touched the fighters, pulled Matthews off, and essentially acknowledged the submission, only to backtrack moments later and claim it was the end of the round. Florian praised Magny for his toughness and ability to come back, but made it clear that the referee's actions cannot be excused. Others in the MMA community echoed those thoughts. Lucrative James said it was ridiculous for Matthews to think he had won, celebrate, and dump all that adrenaline, only to be sent back into the cage moments later. True UK fan added that if an appeal is filed, the outcome should absolutely be overturned to a no contest, stressing that the mental shift of thinking a fight is over and then being forced to continue completely alters the dynamics. Following the event, UFC executive Dave Shaw was asked about the controversy. He admitted the situation was strange and confusing, even from where he was sitting. Shaw explained that Magny's arm did appear to go limp for a moment, which likely led the referee to believe he was about to go out. While he didn't want to speculate further, Shaw acknowledged that the referee probably acted on that assumption and prematurely stopped the fight. The fallout from UFC Perth continues to grow, and the debate around Matthews versus Magny is now one of the hottest topics in the sport. Moving on to another news, Conor has once again found himself making headlines, this time not for training footage or fight announcements, but for the way he's approaching negotiations for his long-awaited return. For months, Conor has been saying that he plans to make his comeback at the UFC's White House card next year. Most fans naturally assumed he was in the usual back-and-forth discussions with the UFC brass, but according to Conor himself, things are playing out very differently this time. In a recent interview, when asked about the status of his negotiations, Conor revealed something that caught everyone off guard. He stated that he isn't negotiating directly with the UFC for this fight, like he usually does. Instead, he claims he is negotiating with the United States of America on behalf of Ireland to make this spectacle happen. His words made it clear that he sees this event as much bigger than just another UFC card. He described it as a unique and peculiar situation, one that involves politics and international representation rather than the standard fight contract talks. Conor went further by saying that President Donald Trump and his administration have been fully supportive of the idea. According to him, they are backing this historic event and pushing for it to happen on American soil in a way that symbolizes more than just sports. He sounded excited and confident, declaring that he cannot wait to put on a show at the White House card, making it one of the biggest stages of his entire career. These comments came shortly after Conor took to social media to demand unprecedented terms for his return. He declared that he wants to be paid a staggering $100 million for the bout, a figure that instantly grabbed attention. But that wasn't the only condition he put forward. Conor also demanded what he called 100 US golden visas, which he said would be for himself, his family, and his closest friends. For Conor, this isn't simply about stepping back into the octagon. It's about leveraging his star power and influence to negotiate benefits that go far beyond the usual fight purse or pay-per-view points. The way Conor frames it, his return is no longer just about fighting another opponent, but about staging a global spectacle with political and cultural weight behind it. While fans are eager to see him compete again, his demands and his negotiations with the US government rather than the UFC put this entire situation in uncharted territory. Whether or not the logistics align, Conor is once again proving that he is unlike anyone else in the fight game, making his comeback as much about spectacle and negotiation as it is about stepping into the cage. Moving on to another news, the UFC's return to Madison Square Garden is shaping up to be one of the most stacked cards of the year, and now a huge fight has been added to the lightweight division. Benoit Sandhagen is officially set to meet Benil Dariush at UFC 322 in New York City on November 15th. The matchup was confirmed by Sandhagen's manager to RMC Sport, and fans are already buzzing about this top 15 showdown. Ranked number 13 in the lightweight division, Sandhagen has been on a strong run, winning back-to-back fights and reminding everyone why he's such a dangerous contender. In May, he submitted Kyle Preplik, and then in September, he secured another finish against Mauricio Ruffi, putting him right back on track after suffering a tough two-fight losing streak. That skid began with a surprising knockout loss to Dustin Poirier, followed by a doctor stoppage defeat against Ronaldo Moano, but since then, Sandhagen has been on a mission, proving he belongs at the top of the division. On the other side, you have Dariush, ranked number 9, who recently snapped a losing streak of his own. In his most recent outing, he defeated Moano by decision, showing composure and grit to get back in the win column. Before that, Dariush had built an incredible 8-fight winning streak between November 2018 and October 2022. That run had him right on the doorstep of a UFC title shot, and many believed he was one fight away from challenging for gold. That opportunity came in June 2023 against Charles Oliveira, but Oliveira turned in a vintage performance, stopping Dariush by TKO in the very first round. It didn't get easier from there, as Dariush went on to face Arman in his next fight, suffering a brutal knockout in just 64 seconds. Those back-to-back losses put a halt to his momentum and raised questions about where he stood in the division. However, Dariush showed his resilience by rebounding with the decision win over Moano, proving he's not done, and still has plenty to offer in one of the UFC's deepest weight classes. This matchup with Denis is a true test for both men. For Denis, it's a chance to climb into the top 10 and prove that his recent resurgence is no fluke. For Dariush, it's about maintaining his spot among the elite and reminding everyone that he's still one of the most well-rounded lightweights in the game. The stakes are high, and Madison Square Garden is the perfect stage for this kind of clash. Fans are expecting fireworks when these two meet, with Denis bringing his aggressive, relentless style, and Dariush showcasing his veteran composure and high-level skills. UFC 322 just got even bigger, and this fight could play a pivotal role in shaping the lightweight title picture moving forward. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.